Live.
We are going live. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, indeed. I'm telling you, it is cold out here, man.
Yeah, let's hear your Florida definition of cold.
It's like below 60. It's freezing. I mean, we're not used to this kind of cold, man.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
I know. What is it up there? Something ridiculous?
It's kind of chilly. It's probably, well, last night it was in the 30s, and it's probably, I don't know, in the 40s or 50s right now, but a warm day is coming.
Hey, man, much more comfortable down here, but 30s, that's kind of cold, dude. All right.
Well,
We got a
lot of people coming in. Let's say hello, Bob. Hello, Clifton. Hello, Art. Fede, good to see you, my man. Jim, Katie, Linda, Santia, and Terry. Awesome.
Yeah, lots of people coming in.
Lots more coming in. People love to be late. I love to be late. I was almost late for my own mastermind meeting.
Hey, I don't love to be late.
I know.
I like being on time.
There you go. So good morning, everybody. Good afternoon.
Now o'clock, baby. Now o'clock is good. Everything else is.
Now, Ridgely, I do have something to teach about, but I would like a volunteer from the audience named Linda Rosh to join us. Could you invite Miss Linda on for us, please?
I can indeed.
Yes. Okay. So, and this is a surprise to Linda, so I hope she's willing to come on. But I wanted to follow up on a conversation that I had with her yesterday. Linda, dear Linda. Hey.
Hello, our friend.
I knew Linda was going to be on because I gave her a little bit of coaching yesterday. And I said to Linda, hey, I would love to use what we went over as a teaching moment to the larger mastermind, because I think it's very helpful. Okay. All right. So Linda, I'm not going to ask you to share your screen yet, but could you pull up that document of the latest, the latest one that we've worked on, where I put in like the step 1, step 2, and all of that. And don't share it yet, but just have that ready to share. So I can give people some background on this. So now, originally, you're a problem solver, so this is not a problem for you. But for the rest of us other mind types, we seem to be, and the people that I am helping seem to be having a common problem.
Okay.
And for you, it's not a problem because for you, it's a blessing. As people know, Ridgely is always teaching that the problem solver mind type, if they get stuck, what do they need more of? Data. And that spurs his thinking and he's down the track. Now, Ridgely, for some of us, all the data that keeps coming in causes analysis paralysis. Now, bringing this down to AI, okay, Miss Linda rapidly discovered that, without coaching and the way we prompt, she's getting incredible content to use. Okay, so Linda's creating a course that's going to make $1 million and save the world. And it's called the Linda Rosh Method. And she's been using AI prompts, and she has a wealth of information. So much so that it's leading her to be paralyzed. Okay, so first off, before she shares, I think what is the breakthrough that we had yesterday, could you speak, Ridgely, to a little bit about this? Do you recognize that for non-problem solvers, we could be kind of like paralyzed by all the data, and like what's the best way around it? Do we need to call our friendly neighborhood problem solver?
Well, that's one way to do it for sure, right? But the other way, I think, is very legit. I think it is very true that there are people who clearly can get overwhelmed by a large amount of data, whereas for the problem solver, it just feeds us.
Okay, cool. So now I'm going to ask for a statement from Linda to kind of just recap where we are, and then ask her to share her screen. So Linda, did I fairly characterize the situation that you found yourself in?
Absolutely.
So first, I know that you were at the very start of it, a little reluctant to embrace AI for creating some of your input, because I know you spent a long time handcrafting your course exactly the way you wanted it. And when it came time to producing the marketing content for it, you were a little hesitant. So just bring yourself back to that moment and speak out loud, please, about what were some of your hesitations and how do you feel about it now?
Well, some of my hesitations were that I really had no experience with it and fundamentally distrusted AI. Um, and so I didn't actually know where to start or anything. Fortunately, you did. But then, so we went through processes, and then the second part of your question was, and where are we now? Is that right? Okay. And so where we are now is you have expertly, masterfully, um, listened and guided me through a series of really amazing prompts that generated tons of really good stuff. And I could see all the possibilities in it, but was overwhelmed by it. And I feel, as a former communication consultant in corporate, that it was really embarrassing not to feel like I had something to latch it all into to have it make sense. And yesterday, you tapped into a recipe that I think is brilliant. And now it's like, oh, okay, I can see a way forward based on
Okay, great.
that.
So that's
Mhm,
exactly what I wanted to share with everybody. But
mhm.
also, let me and Vishwa, you're exactly right. The concept called noise. So we're looking for, a good signal to noise ratio. What's tricky about the AI situation, and originally, this can happen. The output from AI has gotten so good that if you're, especially maybe for an innovator mindset, right, or somebody that tends to jump at shiny new pennies, the output can be so good that we could look at that and say, oh, that's a good angle to go with. Let me go that way. Or, oh no, this one's good too. And so part of it is that the quality is high and the paths are many, and it's hard to stay focused. Okay. So Terry's saying this is where Bridget and, and I are, right? So this is a common problem, originally. So I just want to share that this came out of a discussion that we had last meeting. And Linda, I know that you weren't on, so let me kind of give a brief summation of that. Originally, and I were talking about how we were advising a client on their website to not worry about 99% of the stuff that's on their website and concentrate on the 1% that's important. And I was defining the 1% that was important as the following. Okay. You land on the home page and you see something graphical that makes you feel good, that assures you're in the right place and that you're impressed. There's a limbic message right in view that says, we believe in such and such, you deserve such and such, we picture a world where such and such, that gets your head nodding. Okay. And then as you scroll down, the first thing you see is a video. And the video has the business owner telling the story that they want the world to know. And that whole consumption sequence maybe takes 2-3 minutes at most. Okay. That's the 1% that you have to get right. Once you get that right, the rest, and once you have that 1% consumed in a limbic fashion, the rest of it is a neocortex thing. The rest of it is like, oh, let me browse through and make sure that I'm right, that I like this person, right? And you go and you scroll through the rest of the site. The rest of the site are actually, in fact, details, right? And it's hard to keep this in mind because Ridgely was so proud. He showed me, Hubert, look at, for a client, I created 67 pages of content. And I said, okay, that's cool. That's all great. But let's look at the one page that has this 1% on it. And Ridgely and I kind of tuned that. And when we delivered that to the client, Ridgely, tell me if I'm right. That is way more important than the rest of it because the rest of it becomes details. What? You're muted. Ridgely, you're muted, Ridge.
Sorry.
Okay.
What happened was I had a coughing fit there for a second. The rest of it becomes in service to that story. In other words, the primary message, which is what we're trying to communicate through the website, acts as the limbic message that gets the head nodding. It gets somebody to move in our direction. And then the rest of the website then becomes something that serves that story. So it fleshes it out. It answers the questions that the neocortex might raise, but it's not separate and apart from in any way the main story that is being told on the homepage, that 1%, if you will. The rest serves all of that.
Right. And then Ridgely asked me, hey, should we go so far as to start pruning the other 99%? And I said, wait, no, don't do it, because first off, a lot of hard work went into that. And I reminded originally, and I want to remind everybody, that there are two audiences to consuming a website. Okay. One is, of course, the human audience, your prospects, that you want to have them fall in love with you and buy your product. Okay. That's obvious. The second audience is actually the search bots, right? The search engines, so that they rank you well. The search bots are a little impervious to the limbic messaging. They actually are the ones that care about the 99%, right? And there's all kinds of algorithms about SEO and search engine optimization factors and algorithmic tweaking and all of that. And we do that, day in and day out. And it's important, but we have to keep in mind that there's the human audience and there's the bot audience. The human audience, take the 2 or 3 minutes, hook them at the beginning, and then you have them. Ridgely, I know you like to answer this question, so I'm going to ask you. Terry is asking, how long should that video be?
Okay, so as short as possible that fully conveys the story. If you want some benchmarks, then 60 seconds is a really good one, because the drop off after 60 seconds is substantial. The drop off after 120 seconds is dramatically bigger. So 1 minute is great. 2 minutes is okay. Just know if you have to, if it takes longer to tell the full story, then you got to tell the story the way you need to tell the story. But the drop off at the 2 minute mark is very large. So for sure, less than 2 minutes most of the time. And in my opinion, less than 1 minute. And I'm going to show you an example of that in just a little while.
Great. Okay, cool. That's very, very helpful. Thank you. Now let's proceed. Don't forget, well, actually, about the video, if you're thinking, Richard wants me to do it with 60-second video, how am I going to do all of this in 60 seconds? Don't forget that immediately prior to watching the video, meaning they don't see this video in isolation. They're not seeing this video, on Vimeo directly or YouTube or what have you. They're landing on your page. They're experiencing the limbic design with the emotional picture. They're reading the limbic message, and then they're consuming the video. So in fact, a lot of the stuff, the heavy lifting, has been done already by you in your limbic messaging before you hit play. Originally, that's actually a subtle detail that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really important. It's a complete, that's why we call it the user experience, right? It's the entire experience of the user landing on a site. All right, man, I'm chomping at the bit. I got to see this. Let's like what?
Okay, so Linda, if you can share your screen and bring us to the top of that document, and we'll kind of reveal the formula and kind of tell the story of what you're accomplishing here with your sales page. Now, folks, this is the notes for a sales page that Linda is putting together for the Linda Roche method. Okay, and so the first step I played a little game with Linda. I asked her some questions, let her purposely struggle, and then I revealed the formula and put it in afterwards. Okay, so prior to the green part that says recipe step number 1, I hear and understand your pain, I had asked Linda to ask your audience some questions that would bring out the pain. And Linda went through a bunch of them. Okay, and then we went through the whole thing about like what's actually a pain and what's actually not, more of a solution, and this and that. So I had, and this is not easy, everybody. Okay, I just want to acknowledge that. I had Linda come up with a whole bunch of things in different directions, and then finally hone it down to like the core pain. Okay, so Linda, if you go back up to the recipe step number 1 again, I just want to read that. Mm-hmm. I hear and understand your pain. There's an old axiom in consultative sales that if you're just selling somebody and they hear that, oh my God, this person can express my pain better than I can, I love this person, right? That's what I'm trying to catch here with step number 1. I hear and understand your pain. So an easy way to do it is to ask them a question as a headline on the top of your sales pitch. Right. And so Linda, one of my homework points to you was like, identify, 1 or 2 that's like your favorite. So which is like your current favorite right now?
Well, it's down below in the recipe too section.
Okay, so that's a great way to reveal it. So scroll up
Yeah.
to recipe number 2.
Yep.
Okay, so now number 2 is right after expressing the pain. Step 2 is give them an affirmation of what they deserve in place of the pain. Right? So originally I chose the you deserve construct because that, acts to me as a very good affirmation of what they want. Okay. So for example, at the bottom of Linda's screen here in yellow, entrepreneurs, are you stuck? Have you lost your passion? You deserve to have fun in your business again. So originally, see what I'm doing here? I'm actually using the limbic form to answer the pain question. Okay. So now let's look at what we do in step number 3. Scroll down. All right, number 3. Recipe step number 3. How the Linda Roche method helps you? Okay, so after you identify a pain question and a limbic message, state how your solution, the Linda Roche method, can provide this audience with the answers they seek. So here's an example down below. Entrepreneurs, are you stuck? Have you lost your passion? You deserve to have fun in your business again. And then you give an elaboration of your solution. When the entrepreneurial journey becomes clouded, the Linda Roche method offers a creative resurgence using the transformative power of painting to unlock clarity, purpose, and innovative thinking. Richard, how do you like my little 3-step formula here?
That's good. Really good.
Yeah. Now scroll down and we have like a couple of other steps. Number 4, watch the video and fall in love with me. Here is the part now where you show the video. We were just teaching about this, right? You do the little setup. Now you show the video. In big bold letters, I told Linda, don't worry about this step right this moment. Meaning like she and I were in an exercise where it was important to do step 1, 2, and 3. Don't dread the video part because a lot of people do it. They're like, oh my God, how am I ever going to do the video, blah, 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 whatever. Don't worry about that. We'll teach about that in a separate session. Ridgely has spent a lifetime professionally in front of cameras and he can get you straightened out in no time, right? But that's step number 4. Now, number 5, the rest of the sales page contents are details, right? A person experiencing your sales page, if they vibe to the first statement of pain, they're the right person. If they're affirmed that what they can get in place of the pain they deserve, they've already had like a self-development win already. And then you talk to them about your solution and you do your video, and in the 2-minute video you sell them on the course. Originally the sales job is done. The rest of it, browsing through the page, is a justification. Oh look, there's 10 modules. Oh look, there's 40 videos. Oh look, there's a 30-day warrant guarantee, and look, the price is like outrageously affordable. I'm sold, right? So originally, comments, how do you like my 5-step formula?
I think the 5-step formula is good, but of course now I'm looking to challenge Linda. So I remember when we first started the Mind Types Mastermind, it was all about mind types, right? And so we had discover your mind type. And then we had the Mind Types Mastermind because it was all about mind types, and that made sense.
Right. Linda,
And
do
then
you
started moving.
stop sharing your screen, Linda? Let's watch Ridgely up big.
And then we started moving into a lot of limbic messaging. And it became a natural extension to say, express your mind type. And we created another course called Express Your Mind Type, all about expressing your limbic messaging. And here's the challenge. Express your mind type doesn't mean anything to anybody. So what we did was we said, okay, what is this all about? It's about converting more customers, converting more prospects into customers. So why don't we make the title of the course something that reflects what the course actually does, right? And so that's where we came up with the customer conversion formula. So we refined the title of the course to reflect more of that's what we do. We convert more prospects into customers. Let's call it customer conversion formula.
Right.
And then I was watching Jay Abraham, one of the genius marketing people of all time, and definitely super smart. And he said, you've got to get past just the tactics and think on a bigger level. What's the mind-changing thing? And I called Hubert from Charlotte Airport and said, dude, you got to watch this video. We got to change everything.
Yeah, and I was intrigued because originally the key word in it was he was talking about preeminence. And whenever originally drops a big word like that, I'm like, oh, I gotta listen.
It's called the strategy of preeminence. What is it that's different? What is it that your client can't live without? And that's where we got to the partner attraction formula, dating for business. Because at the end of the day, this is a new partnership economy. We're in a partnership economy now. And now this is a strategy that is much bigger, right? And so, yes, of course, some people might say, well, it sounds like a dating app. But yeah, it is dating for business. And the conversation starts and people get it. So that's all to say that you might think about having the Linda Roche method be something that's included in a course title that expresses what the course does. And you know what I'm saying? And so I'm not telling you what to do, because obviously it's 100% your choice. But I went through this process myself, where sitting in a mastermind with Jay Facette, who runs JVology, very smart guy, he said, well, the course has got the title of the course should say what it is that it does. What's the benefit? What's the thing? And I went, oh, how did we get to express your mind type? And there was a whole sequence of things that got there that were flat out not serving the client. Right? So I'm throwing at you, once you got all this cool, groovy stuff, is there a possibility to think about coming up with a title of something you're going to sell that is about the client and not about you?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a discussion we had yesterday too about, is it, is that in the title? Because, the output from ChatGPT includes this stuff. And so you have to sort through it to come to this level. And you're right, it isn't easy. This is the heavy lifting that really opens the doors and makes everything else flow. It's the most important work. I really appreciate your input. And I am always open to suggestions from you, Ridgely.
Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen now here for a second and go through this process.
Thank you, Dr. Jean, for dropping the 5 steps. Linda, you don't have to type them out anymore.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Jean did it for you. Awesome.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Okay, so with the plug that the prompt that Hubert came up with last week, talking about how to do, how to get to look at the architecture of a website here. So hold on, I'll come up to the top. Actually, what is the course, their approach? Oh no, sorry, here it is. Give me a synopsis and suggested messaging in terms of the user experience, story, and information architecture. What is the service offering at its heart and greatest unique selling proposition and value? That was a prompt. It's in your prompt library now. So Emmerich Financial is the company. It gave a full-blown synopsis. And it used, by the way, Web Pilot, which means that AI grabbed all the content from emmerichfinancial.com, soaked it all in, came up with suggested messaging, all kinds of stuff. And then once I knew that AI had all that content in it, then I came up with this here. You're a wizard copywriter with excellent powers of persuasion. We want you to create a 60-second video script for the homepage. In other words, create a script for this particular product, this particular website, having already absorbed all that's in there. So it's a process. So then it should say we should highlight all the points, that I use B-roll of community banks, focus on what they're focused on, make it friendly yet authoritative. The CTA should be to explore the options for a prospect bank and contact for a consultation. So, okay, so ChatGPT comes up with an opening that is classic. And in a second, I'm going to share with you why I think this is very weak and wasn't good enough. Starts out, welcome to the new game of banking. I'm Roxanne Emmerich. Join us at Emmerich Financial, where we transform good banks into great ones. What we call in the speaking world, an opening like that is a waste of prime time, right? The last thing you want when you're standing on a stage talking to people is to open up and say, hey, I'm Ridgely Goldsboro. Welcome to Peoria, Illinois. Really, man? Really? No, I don't think so. How about this? One day, God forgot to take her pill. Now I got you, right? Or the one that I classically use for all the openings of my speeches was, my great-grandfather was a dude named Theodore Hamilton Lastly, who created a couple of small bottling operations in a shop called Coca-Cola. Anybody heard of it? Right? You gotta see, this is prime time. So that's not good enough in any way, shape, or form. So I went back to work and said, okay, now we don't want this kind of bogus vanilla opening, but I also know we needed limbic messaging. So now remember, we started out with a query about architecture, information architecture on the website and telling the story, but you still got to go through the whole process. So then I said, now give me limbic messages first. So we have all we believe you deserve because something matters. We picture a world where, great. Now take the video script and insert a few of the messages there. So now starts out, welcome to the new game of banking. I'm Roxanne. Really, man? Really? Same stuff. We believe every bank can redefine its own success story. A little bit better. But this isn't good enough because it's not prime time. We're not grabbing somebody right from the beginning. So I kept going with the prompts. Really good work. Now review all the script copy to make sure it's focused on the client, not on the business or the company. Let's make sure that along with limbic messaging, the rest of the script should be written in you language that's all about them, and do it again. Now, warmly lit office where she's standing there confidently with a welcoming smile. Imagine your bank achieving what once seemed impossible. That's where we start. Completely different vibe than welcome to Emmerich Financial. I'm Roxanne Emmerich. You see what I'm saying? It's a very different approach. When we start thinking of using all the tools that we give you to do something like this, the output is so much better. And if you think about looking at this script right now, if you think about what Hubert said, which is somebody lands on the site, they have a limbic experience from the limbic message that they read before they hit play. There's an image that backs it up and maybe some subtext, and then they hit, so they're already going like this. They're feeling good about the experience. Then they hit the video and it starts, imagine your bank achieving what once seemed impossible. That's where we start. You're not just running a bank, you're fueling dreams, building futures. You deserve a partner who believes in your ambitious goals. Partner-centric copy everywhere, limbic messages everywhere. Because your relationships matter, we see you tripling cross sales, deepening trust with every transaction. It's your bank where every connection counts, and so on. Completely different vibe now, because you go through the process of soak it all in first, then work the prompts, educate the tool, and have it give you exactly what you want. And that's 60 seconds. Now I said, okay, give me a 90-second version. Okay, so we got a 90-second version as well. And you can keep refining and iterating as many times as you need. And 60 seconds is plenty to tell a story, especially when we don't think of it in isolation, but rather we think of it as a total experience based on what's on the page. Hubert?
I think that's awesome. I think it's, and also see what's going on here is we're using AI to power and enable a process that we already know, right? And that's what people really don't understand. The AI only does what you ask it to do. If you don't know to ask it about user experience and information architecture and guide it the way, Ridgely and I are guiding it, that's kind of the secret sauce part of it. And that just comes through time, right? So there are plenty of like AI experts out there, and there are plenty of, whatever on the tech side. But the value that Ridgely and I are always bringing to our clients is that, all those years of business savvy that we bring and apply AI to, it's almost like we've replaced an entire agency staff of experts with a machine that you can get for $20 a month. Originally, it's still astounding.
Well, and I just want to show something really quickly on this, right? So when I originally started working on this site, this was what it looked like. This was the homepage, and the homepage, if you look at the homepage, what do we see here? We see a message that reads, taking ambitious banks to a level of performance they never dreamed possible. And then there's an image of a bank. So there's no limbic message. That's not about the client at all. It's promoting somebody there who just won an award. The call to action is not even clear. So it was all around not good. So they had somebody come in and redo it, and it got to let me grab the next. I'm gonna grab the next round of this so you can see how it evolved. It didn't evolve particularly far, I can tell you that. But I wanted to show it to you so you can see what the process is, how I went about saying, let's how do we change all of this? So it got better. For the second time around, it was better. So this is multiple experts. And then it got to this. So it went from, so now there's a picture, we could put a limbic message, and there's a clear call to action. So it's moving in the right direction, so to speak. But before you go any further, the thing, and this may be obvious to some people, but it's not obvious to everybody. I had to go to the client and say, we have to have a conversation. What do you want this website to do? It's not about how do I take existing information and make it look pretty and put it in some order or sequence. What is it supposed to do? What's the business purpose? And then, okay, to bring more business. Okay, great. How are you normally getting your business? In other words, it's not enough to bring more business as the purpose of the website. How do you get your business? What is the sequence? What is the sales sequence that starts at the beginning of the sales journey to closing the client? What serves you best? Do you want the call to action to be to get a phone call? What is the thing? Because that's what I would have thought, strategy session for free. Let's lead to a strategy session. And the answer I got was no, actually, the best way is if somebody reads this book called The Breakthrough Banking Blueprint first. And so I immediately said, okay, great. Why don't we just make it a digital delivery? And the client said, no, I don't want to do that because people just leave it in their inbox and they don't read it. But bankers, if you send them the book, they take it to their lake house on the weekend and they sit there and they read through it. And once they read through it, then they're more likely to take action in the next step. So what did I do? I said, well, if that's the case, that's what's got to be at the top of the webpage. This is not rocket science, right? In that case, we need this to have a video with a limbic message that then says, click here to get your free book. And then I went and wrote the content for an opt-in page that says, you deserve next level performance. Fill in your details so we can send your free copy right away. And yes, the shipping's on us too. Picture of the book on one side, 3 incredible testimonials from bank CEOs on the other, then fill out your details. Now, notice what it says below. Note, a complete marketing funnel needs to be built to follow up on this. A separate, second note, a separate marketing piece needs to be inserted with the book, needs to be created. So now it's an entire experience of get the limbic message, read the subhead, watch the video, click to get the free book, put in your details, get the free book. Now you're in the funnel. Now we start the marketing sequence to get you to ultimately get on a phone call as a more educated person who's much more likely to buy the services. Everybody tracking? The way you have to think, we have to think it through. What's the client really trying to accomplish? And then build it, reverse engineer it out to get the result that we want. So I hope that was helpful, because it's not enough to just say, oh, I just want to sell my course. No, you got to really think it all the way down from the beginning to the end of the journey to make sure that what ends up on that website, besides being limbic and partner-centric, is serving the needs of the client to get them more business. Hubert?
Yeah, agree 100%. And now and this is not, I'm not tooting our own horn. I'm not tooting my horn. I'm not tooting Ridgely's horn. I recognize that when Ridgely and I just like start flying on this, we make it sound easy. It's not that easy. Well, sometimes it's that easy, but I understand if like some feedback recently that I always get is, it's so clear to me when I watch you guys on the thing, but when I'm alone and do it myself, it becomes much harder. Right? So I recognize that. So just keep coming to the meetings and keep asking and call for, you know, consults and get on the hot seats and so on and so forth. So, okay. Linda, thank you so much for volunteering. Your secret is now exposed. Everybody else knows now what Linda's secret course is all about.
The
All
work in
right.
progress.
Okay,
Thank you.
Linda. Okay,
You're
so send
welcome.
Linda off, and I am going to, I have a, this is not late breaking news, but a chat GPT plus update. Let me just share my screen.
And we got to bring up Bill, who's requested some help on a project that we're
Okay.
going to do.
All right,
Next.
so look, guys, now Dolly, which is the, you know, drawing program, art thing, is now integrated into ChatGPT 4 Plus directly. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I just did this while you guys were talking. My first prompt was create an image done in an ink block style of a child robot, and they created this. Okay, here's an image of a child robot done in an ink block style as you requested. I said, make it look hand-drawn. It created this. Here's the hand-drawn style image of a child robot. And I say, great, now please have it playing with a toy. So now it's playing with a toy, right? And then I said, great, now have the child robot express wonder and joy, right? Now we're getting a little difficult. And it goes and creates this. So very robust. It's now built in. DALL-E is now built into ChatGPT 4. No worries about now going and buying additional credits and figuring out all of that and having a separate account. It's right in your ChatGPT 4 Plus account. That's my late breaking news.
And that is very significant breaking news. Hubert, just want to remind everybody, next week is a holiday week, so we won't have a session, but we will the following week. Maybe by that following week, we could bring in some practical applications of DALL-E in ChatGPT, because I'm already freaking out. I'm already like, oh.
Awesome. Yeah. Now
this is going to be good.
I'll drop a preview of it right now. AI is not ready for like photorealistic image generation. Okay, do not go and think that AI is going to create you know, stock images and you don't have to buy stock images anymore. That's not the point of it. Switch your aesthetic and take advantage of using like hand-drawn type of art, and then you're all set. So just save yourself a struggle there.
Awesome. Okay. So Terry asked the question.
Terry's asking copyright. She's asking copyright. So you don't have to worry about copyright with AI produced images, because first off, AI is not going to complain. The robot's not going to complain if you don't credit it, but it is actually, this is generative AI. It's actually, it's not going and pulling from a stock library somewhere and not giving credit. It's actually creating it on the fly. So, and it's working for you, Terry.
Okay. Bill, welcome aboard. Good to see you, my brother. How are you?
Thank you. It's always good to see you and Hubert.
Nice to see you. Two problem solvers. I'm now outnumbered.
That's right. You are indeed outnumbered. Okay. So, Art says, had problems getting DALL-E to follow instructions. We are going to bring experts on to do that. Maybe we'll bring Bridget on as well to share stuff with us on our next mastermind call. But Bill, you have a project.
Yes.
And for everybody's benefit, in case you're brand new, remember, if you have something that you want us to work on live, you want to be on the hot seat like Bill, then just send an email to support@partnerattractionformula.com. Hey, can you guys help me with this on our next mastermind call? And the answer is always yes. All right, so tell us your project, Bill.
So I'm a member of my local library friends group. And so, as a matter of fact, we had a call the other day and people were saying, well, how can we take advantage of Giving Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
So thinking that this call was coming up, I put it out there to you originally, and you said, come on the hot seat. And so I'm ready to take a look at what we can do to publicize the library's needs for Giving Tuesday.
Okay, so let's pay attention to the entire process, because this can act as a reminder. And since this is a little bit outside of norm, let's just use the tool as if we're using the tool by itself. In other words, we're going to create prompts on the fly. So we're trying to create a flyer, right?
Yes.
Okay, so to create a flyer, we need to have copywriters. You are an expert copywriter with deep knowledge of libraries and their benefits. And I will share with people, I used to work a lot with Jim Rohn. Many of you may have listened to Jim. Jim was great. He was my mentor, and I love the guy. And one of the things he used to say is, you know, one of the most important investments you're ever going to make in your life, $5 for a library card. Go to your library. Love that. Okay, so tell me about, you are tasked with creating a flyer. So we're giving specific instructions about Giving Tuesday. And what do we want the flyer to say?
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Sure.
Originally, I did come up with a little bit of a sample. But
Cool.
am I better off trying to do that?
We could do both. So
Okay.
Let's do this first and walk people, because I want people to learn it themselves, how to go through this. So the Giving Tuesday, and what's it about?
Giving Tuesday is about, people coming forth and trying to, either if they don't donate, to donate, but if they do donate, to increase their donations. For the library.
Donate what? Do they donate money, or do they
Money.
donate?
No,
Okay.
money. And I'll just add one more thing. We also were going to try and use it as a vehicle to get them involved in our friends group.
Okay, so it's to donate money to the library, right?
Yep.
And join the friends group of the library.
Yes.
Okay. So let's make the tone. Let's talk about the tone. Let's say informal, though persuasive. And now let's play a little bit here, because this is good so far, but what if I did use a prompt creator at the beginning of this, and then we had this? In other words, I wanted to show everybody this first, but now let's use a prompt creator on the front end of how you would talk to ChatGPT to really come up with something good. So I'm going to go to my prompt library, go to prompt creator. By the way, the reason I'm so quick to get to my prompt library and prompt creator is because it's always open, because I'm always using it. So I just add that to the front of the instructions, and now hit go. Now what's ChatGPT or AI going to do? It's going to say, oh, okay, let me rate what you've asked me for so far, and I'm going to tell you how to make it much better. Here we go. Let's see. Revise prompt. As an expert copywriter with in-depth knowledge of libraries, craft an engaging and informal flyer for Giving Tuesday. The flyer should persuasively encourage donations to the library and promote joining the friends group of the library. Suggestions. There we go. Include specific benefits of donating to the library. We'll look at that. Mention special events or perks with Giving Tuesday in the friends group, considering adding a personal touch or a story. Ooh, that could be really good. Rating, 7 out of 10. Terrible. Oh, can't even live with a 7 out of 10. That's horrible. So clearly we need to improve on this. So let's look at the suggestions first. So Bill, tell us, what are some of the benefits of donating to the library or being part of the group?
Well, well, donating to the library, it helps them to fund a lot of the projects that they do. They have a really good kids program. They also work with some immigrants because we have a lot of kind of South American immigrants that are in our town. And again, it just helps seniors. So they do a lot of programming. So it helps with programming in various areas.
Okay, cool. And what about being part of the Friends group? What's the benefit of that?
Well, being part of the Friends group is that you can come up with ways to get involved and raise money. We're going to be doing a little thing where we're going to be doing one of those guessing game things. We do fun things that also brings people together and raises money for the library. And you could do things like, one of the things that I'm trying to get going is something called Little Free Library. So you create little free libraries around the town, and it encourages people to read, and it also then promotes the library itself.
Yeah, we have that all over Pensacola.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now look at how much I wrote just based on the first suggestion only. So let's just see, for the sake of a learning experience, what improvement that little bit gives us. I'm going to say it's going to go to 8 or 8.5. Let's just see. We're not going to read the revised prompt. We're just going to see what other suggestions we get, because I'm telling you, one thing I love is that inserting an emotional story.
Oh.
So we're gonna come up with something like that in just a second. Here we go. Specific stories, testimonials. Should the flyer mention upcoming events? Oh, we're up to 8 out of 10. Okay, cool. Now let's do a little bit of technical. Is there a particular style or design theme you have? In terms of style and design, what do you think?
Well, I think pushing this whole thing about community, be a part of the community, be an active part of the community. I always like that when I think of the library. Meet your neighbors and get involved, kind of thing.
Yep, perfect. Excellent. So now let's say, I hit go by accident. So here we go. It's just going to give us one. Sometimes that the return is just too close to the apostrophe. So let's see what happens here. It's probably going to go just 8.5. I don't think it's going to go any higher than that, but we're just going to keep iterating because this is the process, right? And it's getting better and better. But I tell you what we're going to do next, which I really think is cool. Let's include an emotional story about a child immigrant who, as a result of the library, learned skills and language that gave them a breakthrough in their life and school.
Oh,
make it a real tearjerker. There we go. Now, is there a specific target audience for the flyer?
Not really. No. I mean, the thing is, I would say this, a lot of times what they're trying to do, and they're being fairly successful, is getting young parents.
Is
the whole another market.
General community, and especially young parents. Okay, great. This is probably going to take us to a 9.5. Let's just take a look. Remember, we haven't even run the prompt yet. We're educating the tool to do this at the moment. And we can get it to a 10 if we want to. We'll see where we are. All right, I'm going to start reading the prompt. As an expert copywriter with a deep understanding of libraries, create an emotionally compelling and informal flyer for Giving Tuesday. The flyer should persuasively encourage donations to the library with a focus on how these contributions support vital programs like those for kids, immigrants, and seniors. Include a heart-wrenching story of a child immigrant whose life was transformed through the library's language and skill-building resources. Highlight the Friends Group community building activities like little free libraries. The design should resonate with the general community, particularly young parents, emphasizing community involvement and neighborly connections. Now we're up to 9. Okay. Call to action. The CTA is to get involved and donate funds to support the library program. I was going to run the prompt, but unless we have a CTA, that's ridiculous. What's happening? Ridgely, what are you slacking over here? Okay. So now we include the CTA, probably going to take us to 9.5, and then we'll run it. And then I'm going to do some super cool stuff. And then you can, we can bring in what you've already done, Bill, if that makes sense, or we can continue going in this direction. All right. Because CTA stands for call to action, by the way. Just, all right. Okay, we're going to put one quote.
9.5.
This
Excellent
quote from Bill Straubinger, a member of the Friends Group. Colon, paragraph. What do you want to say about how awesome it is? Give me a quote.
The most important thing for kids is reading. And we want you to be there to help us make that happen for all kids.
Okay, let's just see if that takes us to a 10. Then we're going to run it, and then we're going to refine a bunch of stuff. If you were to had to bust out my space heater in here before this call, and it went from being cold to now it's roasting in here.
Well, it's a good thing you like saunas.
You know, just saying. But we're not stepping away from this machine. It's way too magical.
When you say cold, what was it, 60 degrees?
62. It's cold. Hey, man, I'm a Floridian, okay?
Yeah, I
Right
get
across
it.
here, it reads WIMP, W-I-M-P, right there. Okay, we know we're going to run this. Now, notice, everybody, how much work it takes to go through the process of really getting high caliber instructions to AI before we run AI. So very important to be thinking how we're doing this. We're taking the time to educate the tool, create the prompt that we need before we run the prompt. So see what we got up to here, and then we're going to run it. Obviously, there's a lot of people on AI at the moment because it's running kind of slow. Still at 9.5, but we're going to run it. We're going to run it anyway. There we go. Yes, run the prompt. Yes. There we go. Now it's going to run the prompt. And let's see what we come up with initially. I especially am curious about the story, because the piece that we know moves hearts are stories. So we want a great story, and we can craft. So before I even see the story, that's what I'm especially interested in.
Should I try and get a real story?
You could, but here we go. Dive into the heartwarming journey of Maria, a young immigrant whose world changed through the library. Struggling with a new language and culture, Maria found solace and growth in our children's programs, where she not only learned English, but discovered a passion for reading and storytelling. Her success is a testament to the power of your contributions. Okay, we got title, join us this Giving Tuesday, make a difference in every child's life. We got a body, we got Bill speaking out, be part of the Friends Group, design elements, ready to make a difference, click to donate, etc. Okay. Now, insert a quote from Maria. as part of the flyer. Ensure that it is highly emotional. Now watch how this changes the dynamic. Just that little piece.
If I use a fake story, though, do I have to just say, here's a sample of what your contributions could do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would recommend getting a real story. This is more from a teaching perspective.
Yeah,
Listen
yeah,
to
I
this.
get it. I get it.
When I first came here, everything was so strange and scary, but in the library, I found my magic world. The books talked to me, the people helped me, and I wasn't lost anywhere. I learned to dream in English, and I hoped, and those dreams are now my reality, shares Maria. Now, see how this just changed everything? The whole thing is just so much richer now. Okay, insert a bunch of fun and uplifting emojis. And then I'm going to get you, Bill, on this next version to critique it and give me what you want to see changed. Not how you want to see it changed, but what you want to see it changed. Okay, so here we go. Here's our updated flyer with emojis. Join us this Giving Tuesday. Empower dreams and transform lives. Rainbow. What are things that we could do to improve this? What's the obvious one?
Well, the ones that I always like to see are actually talking about a series of the programs so that people can kind of look at, wow, they do all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So they can kind of feel connected to whatever those services are, whether it's, again, whether it's the immigrants or seniors or kids, or they do a lot of things.
Yeah, but here's another one we could do. Go back to here and we say, okay, why don't we get some limbic messages and put it in there, right? Let's go in there and say, great, now, but based on what you know, give me some limbic messages. And I don't have to create the messages. I literally get AI to create the messages, and then I type in, terrific. Thank you. Please select several of the best ones and incorporate into the flyer. See, again, I love to show this over and over, the process, because the more you get it internalized, that there's nothing like speaking to the limbic brain and making sure that the flyer is partner or community centric, not library centric, right?
Nice.
We just keep doing this, and the tool will do this tremendous amount of work. It is definitely a lot of people on here today. Here it is running a little slow. So, but here we go. Here's message number 7, rolling into message number 8, and we're done. And we will incorporate these. We picture a world where learning is a lifelong adventure. I love that. Okay, great. Terrific. Select them. Then I'm going to go back to my prompt library. I'm going to say, great, let's make sure that the copy is about them. Now, of course, here it's about a website, so I got to change that. Copy on the flyer is focused on the community. So I'm just making slight tweaks to the prompt. The flyer should be written in U language that takes the messaging all about them, the community. And here we go. In order to connect with and build trust and lead to increased conversions. And now you're going to see that this is actually pretty good. I'm already predicting now this is going to actually be good. We're going to be happy with this at this point.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got? What do we got here? This Giving Tuesday, you can make a real difference. Your impact through Maria's story. I found my magic world in the library. The books talked to me, the people helped me, and I wasn't lost anymore. Maria found her place in the community thanks to you. You believe in the power of reading and learning for every child. You deserve a community where everyone feels welcome and supported. Your involvement matters because every child's future matters. It's going a little off the reservation. You guys see how it's doing that? So
Yeah.
Your role in our community. Reading is crucial for kids, and with your help, we can make it accessible to all, says Bill Straubinger, echoing your commitment. Join the Friends Group. Your community awaits. Your participation in little free libraries and reading events makes a tangible difference. It's your energy and spirit that bring our community together, featuring images designed that reflect your community, families, friends, neighbors, all coming together in the library, a place made vibrant by your involvement. Okay, so we want some elements there. We want some images, right, of that. But now the copy is all done.
Fantastic.
Your contribution counts. Donate and join today. With your support, stories like Maria's become a reality for many more in our community. Together, we're building a world where every child can dream and achieve. Your role in our library community is invaluable. Thank you. Okay, great. Now, what do we call the DALL-E version of ChatGPT 4, Hubert?
It's just built into ChatGPT Plus. That's what you're using right now.
Great. Now use the design function, or what would you call it? The drawing function?
No, just say, great, create an image and then specify what you want.
Create images for the flyer, including one of Maria and...
Wait, if I can give you some advice here.
Okay.
It's not ready for prime time. You always need to iterate an image, so don't try to do more than one at a time because it won't know which one you mean. Just say create an image and then refine it after you get one.
An image for Maria at the library. Okay. Now let's see if that's enough. I can guide you on how to conceptualize an image for Maria at the library.
Are you in ChatGPT 4?
Should be.
I don't know. I was in the same account and it just worked for me earlier.
Maybe I didn't click it at the top. Okay, concept. Let's see, we just take a look at the top. I'll just look real quick. Doesn't say. Maybe I didn't click. Anyway, we get the message, and obviously, Bill, what I'm going to do is grab this for you.
Oh, thank you.
In the chat right now. It's not ready yet. Hold on. Still iterating down here. Okay, now I can grab it. Copy link. Okay, and now we'll pop this in the chat for everybody. And if you want this with all those prompts and instructions, grab it right there. So make sure you grab it, team. And now I'm going to go to here. How do I make sure it's in ChatGPT 4, Yubi?
Just click under ChatGPT plugins and see what that dropdown says. Click that. And also, if you haven't logged out and logged in a while, it may not have refreshed on your end. So
okay. So now that I've done that, take this content and soak it in. Now, now, no, okay. It's not accessing its own link, but so I was trying to see if that was going to work. Obviously, that did not necessarily work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to go back over to this side. I'm going to grab the library flyer, the last version of it that we had, and I'm going to grab all that flyer content, I'm going to bring it over to my new Chat GPT. I'm going to pop it in, and I'm going to say, take in this flyer and make me a new one. So we're going to get a new version. And let's see what we get. And then we're going to get ChatGPT, knowing that we're in 4, we're going to say, oh, look at this. It's creating images for me. Check this out. I love this. I have more fun playing in AI, and it is like being a kid. The power that we have that we never used to have is literally quite remarkable. So anyway, look at that.
Wow.
Now, you can see there's some goofy stuff in there, right? But you get an idea of what's possible.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Terrific.
Awesome. Now, give me an image of Maria reading in the library. And here we go. Goes to work. It takes a little bit longer, right? Because it's iterating based on what it knows so far. I mean, this is kind of insane, right? That this can happen this quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what? So anyway, just I know we had a few people drop at the top of the hour. That's cool. We still have a lot of people on board. Glad to have all of you here. We're going to show, again, a new thing that is super cool.
Bridget has a great idea. She says, what's cool about that graphic is you can give it to someone on Fiverr to create the actual text that you want. Artists work best when you show them what you want. So you can use it to do a mock-up.
Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah. And
that's a great image right there. That's
20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Now, just to reiterate the copyright thing. So Terry's asking, like, who owns the text that's generated in chat? The answer is you do. Like, that's the part about generative AI. It's generating this, and it created it, and at your command. So you don't have to go and give it credit or anything. It's just yours.
There you go. All right, team. Was that helpful, Bill?
Thank you, guys. It's always wonderful to work with the master and the wizard.
Thanks, Bill. That's great. All right,
brother.
so let's send Bill off, and then we have a couple of things to go through in the chat just to answer people's questions. So yeah, Bridget gave a great resource here, gobble.bot. It ingests text, and it goes and creates a PDF that you can do all kinds of stuff with. So thank you for that link, Bridget. Earlier, I just want to point out, Bridget had also dropped a link indicating that if you don't know what something is, just ask ChatGPT and it'll give you a great answer. Prior to her dropping that link, I actually dropped a PDF direct from Jay Abraham on the theory of preeminence. I mean, the strategy of preeminence. So that's a nice, big, beefy PDF. You definitely want to look through that. More questions here. Vishna, you're asking about wanting people in your organization to run the same prompt. So of course you could do it in 2 ways. If you've given access to your, let's say if you have ChatGPT Plus in your organization that everybody can use, you can just simply, give them the prompt that you use and have them run the prompt. If you're asking if you can do that using the PAF brain, what you can do is send me your prompt. I'll program it into our PAF AI brain. We'll name the prompt after you, and then people can go and do a 1-button push and run the prompt that you send me. So I invite you to do that. You can send that to support@partnerattractionformula.com. Okay, let's see here. Bridget says she uses perplexity.ai 100 times faster than Google search, in my humble opinion. Let's see, and good questions. And I think that's it. If anybody has a question, while I'm telling my closing joke, drop it in the chat. Ridgely, you weren't gonna let me go without telling a joke, right?
No,
yeah.
and I got to remind everybody just two things before that joke. Number
Yes.
one, happy Thanksgiving if you're in the States. Happy Thanksgiving if you're not. Really appreciate it. I'm very, very grateful for all of you and the fantastic work we do together. There is no mastermind meeting next week. The following week, we are meeting because of a holiday week. We are meeting at 5 o'clock Eastern on the 29th. 5 o'clock Eastern on the 29th. So just mark your calendars.
Now, Terry asked, where can you find a recording of this? I answered earlier. It's up above. It's in the call archive section of your PAF AI vault. You can always access your membership at partnerattractionformula.com/mastermind, right? Partnerattractionformula.com/mastermind. It'll ask you to log in. You can look in your email for your login details, or call support. Drop an email to support. Okay, so Ridgely.
Okay, can't wait for this.
You know how I always like to tell dad jokes, right? Okay, so this time I have a mom joke for you. And this is topical. So Ridgely, why is the AI server so smart?
Why is that?
Because it listens to its motherboard.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
It's
okay.
Awesome. It's on topic and it's awesome.
All right. So all that said and done, really appreciate everybody. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you in just a couple weeks or week and a half. And you guys are amazing.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Ciao for now. Bye.